Which decade of rock music truly takes the crown? The thunderous 1970s?
Let's go!
The electrifying 1980s? Or the raw, emotional 1990s? It's the ultimate rock and roll showdown. Clearly, this debate hits a chord, so let's fire up the time machine and explore what made each era unforgettable. From groundbreaking albums to cultural movements. Along the way, you'll hear stories, trivia, and just enough nostalgia to get your head banging. Ready? Let's rock. The 1970s, where legends were born. The 1970s are often hailed as the golden era of rock. Rock music expanded its boundaries, reaching new creative and commercial heights.
Now I know the score.
The decade was ruled by bands like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Queen, and Black Sabbath. If you drop the needle on albums like Dark Side of the Moon or Led Zeppelin 4, you were transported.
California with an aching in my heart. Took my chances on a big jet plane.
What made 70s rock so special? For starters, it was diverse. You had the proto-metal thunder of Sabbath, the blues-soaked epics of Zeppelin, and the progressive landscapes of Genesis and Yes.
Isn't it time that he was out on his own? I know what I like, and I turn your head to things not satisfied. I'm on my way.
Then came Southern rock, with the Eagles and Lynyrd Skynyrd weaving Americana into the mix. Live shows in the 70s were monumental.
A man who cares, this might be all for you. I said, excuse, how they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat.
Pete Townsend smashing guitars, Kiss lighting up arenas in full makeup, and The Who setting decibel records. Rock was bigger, louder, and bolder than ever. Stadium rock was born, and the culture around it exploded. And let's not forget punk. As the decade closed, bands like the Ramones, Sex Pistols, and The Clash pushed back against the excess, stripping rock to its raw, rebellious core. It was a perfect counterbalance, proving rock was about spirit as much as skill. The 70s left us with legendary albums: Hotel California, Rumors, A Night at the Opera, Paranoid, and more.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Guitar gods like Jimmy Page, David Gilmour, and Ritchie Blackmore became household names. It was a decade where music felt revolutionary, yet deeply personal. The echoes of that era still shape rock today. Culturally, the 1970s reflected both the aftermath of the 60s counterculture and a push towards new expression. With the Vietnam War ending and societal shifts in full swing, music became an anchor, a place where fans could process their world. Rock lyrics explored more philosophical and psychological themes, while instrumentation grew more sophisticated. The music became more than a soundtrack. It became a statement. Rock wasn't just music, it was identity. Fans wore band patches, grew their hair long, and formed communities around shared sounds and values. Vinyl records weren't just items, they were sacred. Fans would study every lyric, pore over the cover art, and treat their favorite albums with reverence. It was a time when rock stars were mythic, yet the music felt personal. The 1980s, bigger, louder, flashier. If the 70s laid the groundwork, the 80s put on the show. With the arrival of MTV in 1981, rock music was no longer just about sound, it became visual. Bands like Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi, and Def Leppard didn't just sound good, they looked iconic. The 80s rock scene was defined by its over-the-top flair. Glam metal exploded. Motley Crue, Poison, Twisted Sister, bands with big riffs and even bigger hair. Their music was fun, wild, and unapologetically excessive. But there was substance too. AC/DC's Back in Black remains one of the best-selling albums ever. Metallica, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest carried the heavy metal flag with pride and precision. Production changed too. Drum sounds became massive, that gated reverb snare, and synths crept into even the hardest of rock songs. Van Halen's Jump showed you could blend rock guitars with keyboards and still blow minds. Then there were the live spectacles, spinning drum kits, pyrotechnics, crowd chants, and lights that rivaled any Broadway show. Tommy Lee's roller coaster drum solos, Queen's iconic Live Aid performance in 1985. Rock had never looked so massive. Let's not overlook how video became vital. A great video could launch a band into superstardom overnight. MTV transformed how fans connected with artists. and stars like David Bowie, Billy Idol, and Pat Benatar harnessed this new power brilliantly.
It's not really work, just the power to charm. Terrifies me, makes me pony. Moaning, moaning. And she looked, oh yeah, I said, yeah, yeah,
Image and attitude became part of the package, and fans loved it. Culturally, the 80s were about escape. With Cold War fears and economic highs, people wanted a good time, and rock delivered. Even comedy caught on, with films like This Is Spinal Tap poking fun at the absurdity of it all. Whether you were singing Livin' on a Prayer or headbanging to Slayer, the 80s were a party, and everyone was invited. Rock was also going global. Bands toured extensively, reaching audiences in Japan, South America, and Europe like never before. It was a worldwide rock renaissance, and fans from all corners of the globe were united by guitar solos and headbanging anthems. There was also a technological leap. Synths and drum machines didn't just change rock's sound, they shaped how it was created and consumed. Home recording began to emerge, making it possible for smaller acts to gain traction and inspire the next generation. The 1990s, grunge, grit, and a new wave. As the 90s began, rock flipped the script. The polished, glitzy sounds of the 80s gave way to gritty, emotional songs from a new breed of musicians. Enter grunge. Seattle became the epicenter. Nirvana's Nevermind, released in 1991, was a cultural earthquake. Smells Like Teen Spirit captured the angst of a generation and knocked pop royalty off the charts. Suddenly, rock was about being real. Gone were the spandex and solos. In came flannel shirts and fuzzed-out riffs. But the 90s weren't just grunge. Alternative rock took off with bands like REM, Radiohead, and Red Hot Chili Peppers. metal scene evolved too. Metallica's Black Album took metal mainstream, while Pantera cranked up the aggression. Even pop punk and ska found their moment with Green Day, The Offspring, and No Doubt.
Bite my lip and close my eyes. Take me away to Paris. I've got the motivation. Where is my motivation?
There were defining moments. Nirvana's haunting MTV Unplugged performance in '93, Lollapalooza festivals bringing alt-rock to the masses, and that massive Moscow show in 1991, where 500,000 fans rocked out as the Soviet Union crumbled.
Well, although I wasn't there, so your face to face.
And let's not forget the 90s love for introspection. Albums tackled depression, isolation, and politics in ways previous decades only hinted at. Female artists also made their mark. Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill became a voice for millions. Courtney Love's Hole brought rage and vulnerability to the forefront.
Dress you out, my sweater's on backwards and inside out. You say hello, what I would give to find out soulmate. You should learn how to say no.
And older acts thrived too. Aerosmith, U2, and even Santana found new life. The 1990s showed that rock could evolve without losing its core identity. It welcomed fusion, blending rock with rap, with Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit, electronic elements with Nine Inch Nails, and folk sensibilities with Pearl Jam or Dave Matthews Band.
And if you win your rap, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just, you got a problem with me, you got a problem with yourself. It's time to take all that negative energy.
This adaptability kept rock relevant, challenging pop dominance well into the 2000s. Culturally, the 90s felt more introspective. It was about being vulnerable, calling out hypocrisy, and navigating an increasingly digital world.
Earthquakes are to a girl's guitar, just another good vibration. An idle way could say.
Rock musicians became more like poets or activists than untouchable rock gods, and that shift created music that connected on a deeply human level. The underground scene also thrived, with countless indie rock bands laying the groundwork for the 2000s revival. It was a time of zines, bootlegs, and DIY ethics. You didn't just listen to a band, you believed in them. Conclusion: who wins the rock crown? So, which decade wins? The 70s gave us the blueprint, legendary bands, classic albums, and the very essence of what rock means. The 80s turned it into a global phenomenon, louder, glitzier, and unstoppable. The 90s brought it back down to earth, real, raw, and emotional. Each era has its heroes, its anthems, and its moments. It's like choosing between your favorite flavors of chaos, each with its own kick. Whether you air guitar to Page, scream with Freddie, cry with Cobain, or pump fist to Hetfield, it all comes from the same fire. So now it's up to you. Which decade gets your vote? Drop your choice in the comments and tell us why. Share your favorite album, concert memory, or band that changed your life. Was it the analog magic of the 70s, the neo-lit power of the 80s, or the heartfelt honesty of the 90s? Whatever your pick, one thing's certain, rock and roll never dies, and neither does the debate. Thanks for joining this ride. If you enjoyed the trip, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more rock stories. Until then, keep your volume up and your spirit wild. Long live rock.